Everything is fine. We just arrived.
Yes, we just arrived. We had to sort out the room, so in which room we can be today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Torsten Allen here. I've received your email, so I'll sign those documents and do everything and then send them to you soon.
All right, thank you. Much appreciated.
Yep. All right,
thank you.
Hi, Torsten.
Hello, Selina. How are you?
I'm well, and you?
Good, thanks.
I will also send mine also to you.
So we have already the first results of this meeting. Very good. 9:30 didn't even start.
And yes, just to let you guys know, I don't think Marlene is here, but I gave birth to a baby boy.
She's here.
Oh, she's there. Oh, okay. So finally, I'm free. Technically. So his name is Elijah, and yeah, he's keeping us quite busy, but he's here. So yeah.
Congratulations.
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 Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much.
What a nice name.
Thank you.
So how old is he? Just some days, some weeks?
He is, let me tell you now, I think he was born on the 5th of March. I still have that bad pregnancy brain. So he's about around 15 days, somewhere there.
Okay, that's great.
Very small, yes. Very. He was born 3.5 kg. So,
but that's huge.
Yeah, very big.
Yeah.
Very big. So unfortunately, he struggles from colic. So that keeps us up a lot at night and during the day. But at least for now, he's sleeping. But other than that, he's doing quite well.
Okay, that's good.
So I can tell you mine is now 16 months old, and it's still so that we don't sleep every night. So
please
just to give you a perspective, yeah? You know? But enjoy.
Thank you.
My son is 3 years old and still doesn't sleep every night. So
yeah, it's crazy because we have a 3-year-old also. So both of them are not sleeping at night. So the dad has to go attend to the 3-year-old, and I attend the newbie. And yeah, it's been quite fun here at home. Just don't visit us because the house is a mess. Don't visit. It's okay.
Okay, so we have to use this time right now when he's sleeping, I guess.
Yes.
Indeed. Yeah. Please, if you see me disappearing, please just know that he's probably awake. But I'll try to be on as much as I can.
Okay, perfect. That sounds good.
You.
So shall we start? Okay, I think we are complete, aren't we?
Yes, for now. I was hoping Ruth will join us, but not to worry. Let's just have it recorded, then we can make it available to them later.
Okay, perfect. This is good that you are saying this because I don't know how to record it. Maybe Torsten and Marlene, they know. Because we are not using this so often, this function.
Did you get the
Did
remark?
you get the remark?
That it's recorded?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. So we can start. Very nice to have you here, to have two persons here, Selina and Alan. Maybe before we start this meeting today, we may make just a very short round to present us because we are a very small group, so I think we can use this possibility and then we will start. Is this okay for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I will just start with my part. My name is Lauren. I'm working for the BBW group as coordinator for several international projects, and I'm supporting Marlene right now as moderator. And I will also come inside this project at the end of April to South Africa to make workshop closure session of this project. So far from my side. Maybe Ingo, you want to continue? Just very shortly.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, my name is Ingo. I'm the head of quality management for the BBW group, and as a part of my function, we have other functions, but that would be too much for now. My education base is law. I'm a lawyer. And so not a normal quality manager, but I think it's working so far. I'm based in Augsburg, southern Bavaria, near to Munich, and I'm looking forward for this session today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ingo. Maybe later you can explain what is a normal quality manager. Okay. So, Mr. Okai, you want to continue just some words about your function, and then Selina and Alan, please.
Yes, my name is Timothy Anton Okai, and I am the leader for the clinical engineering group at the Tshwane University of Technology, and also coordinator for this short learning program in clinical engineering. So I lecture at the university, I lecture the clinical engineering students, and I work together with Selina.
Thank you. Perfect. Selina, you want to continue?
Yes, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Struggling from flu, so I hope I'm properly audible. My name is Selina. I am a colleague of Mr. Okai, as already mentioned. We lectured together under the clinical engineering department. And we've been with the process of this project since the beginning. And it's amazing to see how far it has actually come. And as most of you know, I was pregnant by the time we met. So I guess a lot of time has gone by between then and now. But looking forward to this workshop, and hopefully I'll be able to stay on longer and we'll learn a lot from it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alan, you want to continue?
Yeah, I hope you're all going to be jealous because I've got the best job in the whole world. I'm retired. Before I retired, I taught the clinical engineering students from the TUT for about 25 years. Yep.
And you were the program manager for the practical training at Pdca Cycle. Is that correct?
No, Timothy, I couldn't hear you. Just say that again, please.
Yes, you were managing the clinical engineering program where our students were doing their practical at Steve Biko Academic Hospital.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, Malé and Thorsten, I think everybody knows you. But
Yes, we don't need to.
You need to present it.
This time in this round, everyone knows us. So.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention this, not only to skip you, to be unpolite. Okay, so then I would propose that we start with the presentation and with a deeper look on the things that we have mentioned yesterday already. Ingo, he gave us a first impression, or not a first impression, a pretty deep impression about quality management and the process of continuous improvement. He made a broader summary, and together there came up some questions yesterday and some remarks about more details. So we picked up some themes, some subjects where we want to have a deeper look on today. That is our first part where we want to continue with. And then afterwards, we would like to reflect with you a little bit how you are realizing already processes and using tools of quality management inside the TUT, and of course how we can adopt them and implement them in order to evaluate the short course that will start from the beginning of April. And that is one of our, of course, indicators in the project, but that is something, of course, for you, which you want to implement in a sustainable way. So it's very important to think the process of quality management and also the process of evaluation and monitoring from the beginning of the first round. So this is what we want to do today, roughly, more or less. We are right now 6 people, but probably there will come some other persons afterwards, which will give us some ideas and also some experience how they realize quality management in their departments and their daily business. And then I think together we can collect the first ideas that maybe can also be continued during the final closing workshop in April. So that's how we want to start and to proceed. So far, I would like to pass over the word to Ingo, that he will just continue with the things from yesterday and then go deeper to the points that were mentioned. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Noreen. As we said yesterday, I make a quick roundup of the basics, and then we go deeper in some tools and some prospects we've mentioned yesterday. So, hello everybody. Welcome back, the old folks from yesterday, and welcome to the new joiners. Quality management is the topic, and I start the quick roundup. So the agenda is just laid down here. We'll have a quick look on why to do quality management. We look at the continuous improvement process. We have a look at some quality tools, quality management tools, and do there today a much more closer look on 2 tools we mentioned yesterday, and afterwards some words about certification and samples, how we do it here at the BBW group, and then we start the discussion Laurie mentioned. Okay. Why to do quality management? Quality management is not an own goal for itself, but if you do proper business, if you control your business in a normal way, you are doing quality management. So it's just a name for normal company strategies to manage your system right, to get to improve your services, to improve your products, and to gather more market attention. Quality management as in itself has several benefits to implement a quality management system. I laid them down here, just a few to mention here. You standardize best practice. If you realize you're doing something very good, you can standardize it so that you can do it several times. You onboard new people by using the standardization. You will be mentioned in the market as someone who's got a good product, and so you can confirm your standardization by implementing a quality management system. That's also a fact of certification we will see later on. Quality management has a few principles that's in every quality management systems companies worldwide are using. They are more or less the same. So there's always a big customer focus. So one main thing you do when you do quality management is to look at your customers, what they want, what are their appreciations, and how to satisfy them. Quality management is always on management, on leadership. It's how to you steer, you control your company to reach your goals. And quality management is always an approach on processes. you define your processes as good as you can so that your company is running. And by doing this, you improve your products. And that's more or less what I said even now. Quality management, by doing a process approach, is to organize your company effectively and efficient. So to get the results as good as you can in as less time as you can. And the main thing quality management is about is a continual improvement process. It's more or less the circle I described here on the slide. It's started with planning. You plan what you want to do. You do what you've planned. You check what the results of your doings are, and then you act on the results. If you find a mistake, you go back to plan, to do it again, check again, and so you are improving. The real benefit of this Pdca cycle is the continual improvement you do. So every time you recheck your process, you find a way to do it better. And even so, this sounds easy. It's the whole magic. So to do this right is this thing you get together on. So this is more specific. What is inside the Pdca cycle? So plan is establish the objectives of the system and its processes. You establish the resources you need to deliver the results, and also you address your risk and your opportunities to see the whole thing in once, and then you plan what you're doing, and then you implement your plan. That's the do phases. So after the do phases, you check what you did. You monitor and measure your processes, you measure your KPIs you laid down in the planning phase, and you measure if you reached your goals. You see if you did mistakes. You report the results to get a transparency of your process goals, and you see what you did good, you see what you did not so good, and then you can react on it. And that's the acting phase. You act on what you've measured and what you replanned, so to improve the process as necessary. Here are the phases again, just with a little more words. I think I will skip that today, so I just told you about it. Here are the quality management tools we touched yesterday. I repeat them once more, and then we do later on some closer look on the Ishikawa and then turtle method. The 5 whys are my favorite. I told you yesterday. It's a simple method, and but it's clearly efficient, because with these 5 why questions, you can also use 6, 7, 8, or just 3. It's just about to get down to the root of the cause of the mistake, and it's always a question: why is something not working? And you get an answer, and then you request this answer to see is there another cause behind it. So the sample I'd lay down here is a broken server. Online shop is down. So you ask why the online shop is down. Okay, it's down because the server is down. Why is the server down? It was overloaded. So why was it overloaded? Because too many tasks were running. Why? There are too many tasks running. There's a software bug. And so why isn't the software bug still inside? Because the software developer was out of time to fix it. So you see, every why question gets another answer, and at least you come to the point where you see, okay, we haven't had any enough software developers at this time to run our stable online shop. So that's the point where you have to act on. And it's just as simple as that. You ask several why questions just as a child with his parents. Why? Just till you reach the root of the cause. So it's sometimes annoying for the people you're asking at, but it gets clearly good results. So I said it was one of my favorite tools. Benchmarking is a very common tool. You measure your KPIs against others. So you can measure your KPIs against your competitors on the market. You can measure your KPIs on known other companies on the market. You know they are good. And you can measure your KPIs at your own best practice. So if you have comparable processes in your company, you can see, you can do more or less a competition of best practice. And so to improve every process, you measure against the other. Customer surveys is one big point. You can do quality management without customer surveys. Even so, in the service you do or we do in the BBW group. I told yesterday that we don't have any course in our business that is running without a customer survey at the end. And I brought to you some samples. I'll show you later that we can have a look on how we do this and how we measure the results. One thing you should do when you do customer surveys, you do mainly you do a lot of thinking about the questions you're questioning your customers, and you also have to do some thinking about what you do and when you do it when the results are not so good. You have to check a mark. Above this mark, we are fine. Below this mark, we have to act. And you should do this in front of asking, before asking. Okay, customer surveys. Ishikawa, I don't know if you know the name. Ishikawa is the inventor of this method. It's known as the fishbone method. I've got a few slides checking down this fishbone method, so I don't say anything about here. Also, the turtle method, it's another sea creature beside the fish. Now we have a turtle. I don't know why is that so, but it's a very common method in quality management. A little bit complicated, but I like it because when you use it, you get very interesting results. Ishikawa is looking at the problem and in its roots. The turtle method is looking at the interfaces in your process. So it's a different perspective, and both can be very helpful by finding your improvement. Okay. Yesterday we talked even so about certification. Certification is a lay down written what you're doing by doing quality management. It's more or less a testimony about your quality management system you're running in your company. Certification is a stamp on your company. Okay, you approved, you're standardized, and you do it well. It's an option to show that your organization meets international quality standards. It's more or less necessary if you do international business with big companies. So as an example, BMW, the big automobile firm here in Germany, doesn't work with any supplier if it's not checked with the quality management system. If it's not have any special certification, you're out of business. So certification, the courses I told you to be considered as a supplier in international standards. And one reason we face here in Germany with our business is intenders from cities and municipalities. If you want to participate in these tenders, you have to have a special certification. I brought you some samples. It's the DNI ISO 9001. That's the standard quality management certification used worldwide. It's also a certification we have here in the BBW group. And I brought another one, and DNI ISO 29993. Don't pronounce it like that. It's a special certification for learning services. So perhaps it's an international standard. I don't know if it's common in South Africa, but it's getting more used here in Europe for learning services. We don't use it because we have the other one. And that's the last point I do on certification, because every certification costs money. You have to and you have to buy a company to do the certification for you. You have audits, you have auditors coming every year to you, and you have to pay every year a certain kind of money to get this certification. Okay, here are some samples for the certificates we use at BBW Group. The right one is DNI ISO 9001, and the left, the smaller one, is a special certification for our employer market services we do for the municipalities here in Germany. If you don't have this one, we couldn't do any business in learning services for the people here in Germany. On the left side, I've mentioned some aspects of our quality management system. The certifications are the first two parts, and then we do customer service, as I told you, and as I show you later on. We do some system audits. That's the special internal audits we do as quality management department of this company inside our businesses here over Bavaria. I think even we've been to China so far. There's international audits, and perhaps I come to South Africa at one point. I don't know. We will see. And then we have the mentioned external audits, where auditors from the company we use for certification are coming to us and check if we do the right things in the right way to get the certificate. And that's even the point where you have to pay the money for. Looking at our processes, we have a lot of key processes in our business running as BBW or the other companies in the group. Every product manager has a lot of processes for courses underneath him. And for each main process, we have a process product description. And these descriptions highlight the main steps, which tools you have to use, which is the input, which is the output, and even the KPIs are inside of these descriptions. So that's more or less the red ribbon to use to do the business for everyone who is involved in doing the process. So, and we do management reviews. That's one of my main parts in every year to arrange these management reviews. That's more or less the results, the lessons we learned in doing quality management in the year, and to see what we can improve the next year. Okay, that was roughly what we talked about yesterday, and now we come to some new slides, and I try to slow down now a little bit. Please say if I'm too fast, and please ask questions if you want to at the point they come to you. So this diagram is now better to read than yesterday on this small icon and down the fishbone, the Ishikawa method. It's the fishbone. It's just a sign how to do this method. So you figure a problem. You see you have a problem that's inside of the fish head. And that's the first step to do this method, is to lay down as precise as you can the problem you're facing, and you write it down in the fish head. So that's the starting point. Then you draw an arrow just from right to the left, and it's the main bone. The second step is the main to I start again. The main bone, and then you implement these the secondary bones here, the ups and the downs on the main bone. That's the second step. It's the categories in which the cause of the occurrence of the problem can be found. And that's some more or less global categories. For normal, it's what I've laid down here. It's a lot of M words. It's manpower, it's machines, it's material, it's method, it's measurements, and it's environment. There's also an M inside, but not at the point. There can be other, but this is the common to do it. The common way to do it. So these are the categories, and then you start to analyze the causes of the problem. You think about in the team. It's a good team method where you can do a benchmark, a classic brainstorming in your team, and you ask even so why questions in every category. So you try to analyze where is the cause of the problem, or are there more causes? You see, by asking why questions, it's even the same as in the 5 why method. You get to the sub causes or the sub causes, or even more so. And by doing this on the fishbone, you see in which category it belongs, and you can start to think about solving the problems. So the fourth step is to evaluate the causes you found, and then finally you use your team knowledge to what you can do about this problem. What are the appropriate measures to identify the problem and how to get it under control? That's more or less the Ishikawa method, the fishbone method. After you're doing this, there's a lot of meat at the fishbone. You have on every secondary bone, you have more or less more than 1 or 2 or 3 causes found, and you write down there what you can do about it. And so it's a very transparent method about where is the process not working and which are the causes, the root causes of the problem. Every method has advantages and disadvantages. I laid some down here. Advantage is, as I said, it's a very good method for working in groups. And therefore, I showed it to you because I saw your team yesterday and today and learned about how you do your services. And I think that's a pretty cool method to gather your people and to encourage your people by using them to solve your problems and to improve your processes. It's very easy to implement. It's more or less what I told you. You have to draw a diagram and then to lay down what everyone is saying. And it contributes a better understanding of causes and their effects. When you have the diagram ready, you see where your problem is coming from, and also a way to solve it, more or less. Disadvantages, if you do not define your problem as precise as you can, the diagram can become confusing, because the complex problems they appear there could be a deep ramification. It could be very confusing when there's too much on the display. The interactions between different causes could be very difficult to see on the Ishikawa fishbone. The interactions, there are other methods for. And even so, the timeline is not displayed in the in this method. Yes, Celine.
Thank you. I wanted to know, how often do we have to do this quality management process? Because I can imagine too often might not be good, too long also might not be good. So how often should one be able to do this, or how often should one do this actually?
Okay, it's a good question. It's something I should told you yesterday, and I like to tell you today. Quality management is not a goal for its own. So even these methods, you do them when you need it. So the Pdca cycle I showed you is something where what you do to find, do we have a problem? Is there a problem we have to solve? And if you find one, then you can choose the right method to solve it. And so if everything is running fine, when you meet your goals, your KPIs are good, and you're selling your services like cake, everything is good. You don't have to do it. But if you discover a problem, then you should use a method you're common with, and you think it's could be working to solve the problem.
Okay, so you do it as a response to a problem that you might be experiencing.
Right.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Okay, so another question.
Sorry, Ingo.
Yes.
Yes, if you can go back to the fishbone diagram, please.
Here we are.
I do agree that this can be quite a lot. I feel like it can be quite a lot because the way it looks. So what I don't understand is that you have a problem, right? And then you have possible causes of those problems, correct?
Right.
Which are the sub bones that you're talking about. Then for each sub I'm looking for the correct word, secondary bones, sorry. So for each secondary bone, you then need to do the why questions for each of them?
Yes. So the secondary bones are the categories the problem cause can come from. So when you go back to the server who's down, the online shop in the 5Y samples. So that's your problem. That's in the head of the fishbone. And then you start thinking about where could the problem come from. You think about material. Is our hardware good enough? Or do we have fast internet interactions? Something like that. And then you ask about your machine. That's probably more or less the same hardware. Manpower, that could be the software developer inside. Or the method is, do we use the actual software, or it's old and too slow? Measurements, I don't have a sample now for that. environment could be a problem when you say, our hardware is overheating because we have not the right cooling inside our server house. So just a quick sample how you can do this with Fishbone. And you start to put on every secondary bones here the sub-courses. So these are the categories. And when you say, material hardware could be a problem, then you write it down here. Or when you say, software developer was not available, you write it down here. And then you ask another why question. So it could be that on this software developer, you have another, not a secondary, but a third bone or fourth bone or fifth bone. So you get more meat on your fishbone. It's understandable?
It is understandable. Maybe my problem is that they don't interconnect in any way. And I think you did mention that is one of the disadvantages of the fishbone method, that there's no interaction between the problems. So you are dealing with each issue or you call it the secondary bones as an isolated issue.
Yes, sure.
So,
Fishbone is a method to find some causes for the problem. No, so you're asking in categories and find causes, and if you find the causes, you have to use another method to solve the problem. Yes? If you find more causes, then you combine them and perhaps you do then a brainstorming or a risk analysis, or you ask more 5 why questions for each cause. How can we solve this problem?
Okay. Yeah, no, I understand. Thank you. Because I was about to ask if you can use other methods together with this to then solve the problem. So you answered that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Maybe there's one thing you can add, or that you mentioned yesterday, Ingo. This method has been developed by Ishikawa, which comes from industry, automotive industry. So it's very, maybe this is something typical for this branch and this industry. It's very structurized. It's not holistic. It's very in categories, where you also have some points which, for example, for the BBW group are not that crucial as machine. We are not, of course, we have technical equipment, which is also important. And when you have online lessons, then of course the digital infrastructure is very important and can interfere the quality of your training. But in general, it doesn't have such an effect as, for example, in the industry. So maybe this method is, especially when it comes to TUT and also BBW, something which can be difficult to adopt, or you always have to put it in the context where we are working, and then you have to combine it anyway with other tools.
I think it's it's absolutely right what you said, Lorraine. Perhaps you can design the fishbone suitable for you, so you don't have to use all these categories. So you can, as you said, when more or less manpower is the main problem, and environmental cause, you interact with companies, with universities, with clinics, with municipalities. So that's more or less, you can reduce the 6 categories to 3 or 4. And I think fishbone is a good method if you are facing a problem. You on the first side, you don't have a clue why we have a problem. So then you can ask yourself in these categories, where could a possible cause come from? Mr. Okay.
Yes, I think I have a much better understanding of the Ishikawa fishbone method now that you've explained it. So I can already see how to apply it in this course, and I think it's very relevant. And because I now understand it, it's something we can implement. You look at materials, for instance, our training material that we're developing, we can evaluate that using this. The machines, of course, we have the practical sessions where we use different kind of machines. So if that's your problem, we can now deal with that. The manpower, facilitators, administrative staff that will help with this course, they all fall in that category. The methods we use, online, blended, face-to-face, that's a method. Measurements, of course, there's room for measurements, and the environment as well. So I understand it now. So thank you for this clarity. And it's a tool I think it's very relevant even for this course, and it's something we can use going forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. I gave to Marlene and Laureen some follow-up material for you, describing more on detail what is needed and how to do this method. And I think they send it to you afterwards. Okay, so that's fishbone. And now, as I told you, the next sea creature, turtle. Turtle, I think, is even more complex than fishbone. So I try to explain it, but also the follow-up material is more specific on turtle. The main criterion, the main specific of turtle is now you look at the interfaces in your process. So that's very relevant when you try to determine what do we need to start our process and what is the goal we have to reach to give the final product to the market, or to give it to a following process. What are the requirements we have to meet? So you start the turtle at the back, at the tail, and have to reach the head, the input. So now I don't read what there's laid on there. I told you it's on interfaces of the process. Turtle is to determine the effectiveness and efficiency of your processes, and while doing so, to see where are your weaknesses and where you can improve. So the turtle, as I told you, we start with the output at the tail of the turtle, and that's the result your process have to meet. So that's what your products are, what your services are, what your goal is, which you have to reach to get the next process running, or to sell your finished products. Can be information service product, as I told you, and it's mainly based on the requirements of the customer, which customers which are buying your products, or of the requirements of the follow-up process. So you have to record here which are the characteristics and functions your results has to meet, the quality characteristics of your results, so specific quality characteristics, the types and the scopes of the informations you're generating in the process, and the service for the customer services. What are the requirements of your customers buying the product or the follow-up process? Finally, very relevant, the turtle diagram is for the process owner, because you can determine very precise the specifics of the processes, which are the KPIs you have to meet to keep your process running, to interact with other processes. So the process owner is very grateful for a good turtle method. So, okay, output was the tail. Now we have the corpse. It's the process himself, the body of the turtle. There you have to lay down the activities in your process. So you name what you are doing by doing what you do. So it's So what you have to check, whom you have to consult, or what you have to write down, what you have to create to sort out, what are your testings, what you do to get your process done, to get your service built up. So then that's the whole body. Now we come to the head of the turtle. So that's what do you need to start your process? So what are the inputs you're determined to get? Therefore, your process can run smoothly, effectively, and finally to the good end. So that's the definition you have to do. To do my job, I need you, predecessor process or deliverer. That's the specific I need from you to get my process running. So could be working materials, could be the requirements of your customers, the informations you need or something like that. So and now, if you have this main bone of the turtle, you have the four legs, and the four legs are more or less the supporting processes around your process. So what are your resources you need? What are human resources, manpower you need? What are methods you're using? What are the goals? What are your KPIs? You have to determine that what is so the surrounding of your process to keep it running smooth and efficient. Also here, advantages and disadvantages. Advantage of the turtle is very systematically look at the characteristics of your processes and your sub-processes. And you take a new perspective looking at your process. It's very highly structured. You get a very good visualize what you're doing and what are your needs and what are your outcomes. And you can, because everything is on one page, you have a good overlook. And you have a good possibility to allocate where are my weaknesses and where do we have to work on what's not so smooth, where do we have to crunch a bit. Disadvantages. You don't achieve very detailed descriptions of the factors, because here on Turtle you lay down main terms, just more or less categories. So Turtle is a good start to look at your processes and what is inputs, outputs, and needs. And when you have this done, you can start at each point you lay down on Turtle to get more specific. There you have another door to get another method inside your process management. And if you have a process chain, that's, I don't think it's some very specific for your business, but also in production. If you have a process chain, you have to, for each process, a turtle, and then you have more or less 3, 4, 5, 6 turtles. You have to compare. That's not very handsome. Okay, Turtle. Was that any questions on Turtle?
I think the turtle is very complex, maybe a little bit abstract. Do you have some example how we could use it or how we are using it inside our company and how it could be used, for example, in the field of such an analysis of a short course?
Yeah, I go back to the big turtle, so there perhaps we can make it more handsome there. I think when you ask yourself what are the requirements of the clinics I'm dealing with, the people whom to buy my course or come to visit my course, And that is more or less the requirements, the output requirements. And yesterday we saw the design thinking circle of Thorsten. He showed us, and that's more or less the interviews you made there could be a very good starting point to when you start a new process designing. Perhaps if you now implement a new course, or if you have a new main subject, you can start by this and then design your process before you're doing it. So the planning phase in the Pdca cycle I showed you could be a turtle. Then you design your new product, you lay down your process to get the steps visible. What have we to do? What are the needs we have? What are the interactions we have to take, and then design by this the new process if you want to invent or design a new product, a new service.
Is it clear
Running
for everyone?
The turtle by nature is a creature with a very difficult, hard shell. And it's also sluggish, especially when it's on land. Perhaps that explains why we're a bit slow in the uptake and having it difficult to understand and find a way to implement this method. But I also do not think there's any rule that says we have to use all the methods. At least I understand all the other methods. They will work for us. And if one method doesn't work or we don't understand, we still have other tools. So that's my take on this.
It's a good take.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the turtle method, but at least I understand the rest, and we have sufficient tools that we can use. If one doesn't work, we have many other options. So that's
okay. I see. I have to put down my telephone numbers to get more more details and more precise descriptions for the turtle if you need it. Okay. Okay. Fine. But it's I showed it to you because this is a method. If you have come to a point where you need to reflect your interfaces, your interactions of process, and that's a very good method. If you don't need this for that point, you have better other methods that are more easy to implement and more or less complex. You're right. Okay, then we skip the turtle and come to customer service. We talked about yesterday, and I put down here a link. So, oh, it's working. Surprise. Let me see if you get this. Can show it to you. Okay. Where is my Teams window? There it is. I have to share it with you. Just a second. Here we go. Okay. I blew it up a little bit. Okay. First, it's in German, because we use it in Bavaria in Germany. But it's just a sample how we do it. It's a customer survey. Our clients get to do it at the end of each course we're selling to BBW clients in each seminar. So what we can look on is how we do it. So we have here some categories. The first one here is we ask questions about the trainer, the coach, and we have a range from 1 to 5. So you can choose if we ask a question, and then 1 is I agree completely, and 5 is I don't agree at any case. And so you can measure between these points. So it's a question about is the trainer good in his specific material? Is he good, understandable? Did you understand the trainer and his methods? Are the materials, the workbooks, the sheets usable for you? So that's some questions asked here. More the methods of the trainer. Is he good? Is he grasping up your questions? Are your problems met? Could you interact in the course? Something like that. Always with the range 1 to 5 to measure. A lot of questions about the trainer with some subcategories. Again, trainer, then organization. The organization of the seminar, of the course, was it clear and understandable? Were the rooms where we met in suitable, big enough? And what we had yesterday, the food. Was it okay? So I just laughing yesterday because don't underestimate the food you get to the people in your courses. Yeah. It's one of the main criteria you get recommends. If you give rubbish food to the people, no one is coming back to you. So even if you're a Nobel Prize trainer. If you feed them worms, no one will come back and recommend you. Of course, I'm a little bit joking, but it's not that it's not important. So, and we ask questions about how did you recognize us, our course? What is the recommendation of your employer? It's a recommendation of any kind. It's mailings, social media, Google advertising, whatever. And then we ask questions about would you recommend us, and if not, why? And any open recommendations or annotations you can make here. So that's more or less how many pages? 2 or 3, I think. Yeah, two pages. It's I wouldn't do more because you don't want to annoy your clients with customer service. It should be as quick as possible to answer these questions. I don't know exactly, but the if you send 100 of these surveys to your clients, I think we get back not more than 15%. That's the normal figure, around about 15%. So and if you do it more complex, this figure is melting down. So if you want to build up your base of your data collection, do it as smooth as you can, but ask questions you need to know and you can act on. So, and the act on is something I'd like to show you now. I have to kill this one here. Okay, and now I want to show you how we act with the results we're getting back. Where is it gone to? There. Can see it? Okay, good. It's a little bit small, I think. Okay.
Maybe you can make it a little bit more bigger, just a little bit, because the numbers.
Try.
Yeah.
See. Okay.
Perfect.
This is a sum up of a summer sample. Yes.
Selina has a question.
Sorry,
yeah?
sure.
Yeah, it's okay. You cannot see it. That's why you have me. Selina, please.
Thank you. Ingo, so you are right about surveys, right? Even in my previous company, we used to struggle a lot with customer surveys because people just scroll over them, So since, you did mention that if you send about 100 surveys, you will get about 15%. So it seems like it's not a very good means of getting data. So why do we still keep on doing surveys if if the response is so low?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's because we haven't now invented another way to get the customer feedback. You can do it on several ways. You can do this online. You can do it by paper. You can do it by mailing. You can do it by interview. And I think how to do it is a thing you have to figure out by how do you get the best feedback from your clients to grow up the figures we talked about. But colleagues, you can correct me, but I think we don't have another tool to get customer feedback. And as I told you a few times today, the customer feedback is one main criteria by quality management. If you don't meet your customer requirements, your product will be rubbish.
Of course. So maybe the trick then lies in the method. For example, if you can send reminders to, because I think Mr. Okai, in our case, if you look at the lecture surveys that we do for TUT, normally there's a way in which we can even send reminders to the students that have not yet done the reviews. I'll call it review. So maybe that's what we can use maybe for this program, Mr. Okai, and just keep on sending those reminders to them so that we get some response.
Maybe, Selina, there is another way to do it. We are using this service also in our projects, and we translate them into French and English and other languages where we can use it. And what we do is that we make this survey as part of the training.
Yes.
So it's not some kind of exercise, but the last day we just take 15 minutes of the training, 10 to 15 minutes. It's also some task of the trainers. They are responsible for it to do it. And then they make this, we make this survey, or they get these documents inside the lesson. And of course, then they give you the answers. They are still in the training. They have it fresh. They can remember what has happening. They can really reflect on it in an active way. And then, of course, you get most of the time, but you get a lot of answers, and you come up to a result of almost 100%. Maybe some of the questions they are not replied, but you will get back all the questionnaires, and then you have a good basis to analyze the data afterwards. So this would be a possibility also for TUT, that when you have your questionnaire, that maybe you integrate it direct into the course.
Please, I think that's a good idea.
I agree with you, Lorraine. It has to be integrated somehow as part of the course. I remember there's another training I used to do. And what we do is, because, after the training, everybody goes away and they don't care about the evaluation and all that. So we say to them, you have to do evaluation. It is part of the course. And if you don't do the evaluation, you don't get your certificate, because then you've not completed the course. So if you want the certificate, you have to complete the course. And completing the course means you have to do the evaluation at the end. So yes, we have to find a way to integrate it so that they can't escape it, because we need the information to improve. If we don't get feedback, we don't hear from them, we don't know what we're doing right or what we're doing wrong, or how we need to improve. So by integrating it within the course, as opposed to making it something separate, then we can make sure that every participant does the evaluation or the survey.
Yeah, perhaps you can find a positive way to benefit it, because if you when you do an online course or web-based training or so, you don't have a direct approach on the people. Perhaps if you say, okay, everyone who's doing the customer survey is in the lottery for perhaps a 15% benefit for the next course or something like that. Okay, just an idea. What I want to show to you is this is the sum up of the feedbacks. And what I told you is you have to check your marks and to set an activity mark. When you get back your feedback, just if you see here, let me see. Okay, this figure 3.78 is the feedback mark on wasn't this course suitable for your practical needs. And if you see 1 is best, 5 is the worst, 3.78 is bad. It's not so good. And if you reach this feedback, you have to act on. And that's something you have to design before you lay down this customer survey. What are we doing when the feedback is worse than just for example, 2.5? So you have to act on, and you have to check your ingredients of the course. If it's not with practical use, no one will recommend you afterwards. If you want to sell this course to people who are working in clinics, and if they use their time for doing your course and it has no practical relevant input, was the last time I was doing it. And even so here, a mark is for 5.0 because the organization was not reachable. And that's also something you have to work on. Yeah? So just want to show the sum ups are very, very important. If you do a customer survey and you don't do a sum up afterwards, you can leave the customer survey in the basket. You have to act on what the results are.
Ingo?
Yes, Selina?
Yes, I see on your... Oh no, what is happening? So I'm changing nappies while talking to you, sorry. What I see on this one that you showed us here, I'm not sure if what I'm reading there on column 2, if those are the names of the participants, because sometimes it's said that, and of course you can give your professional view of that people like to remain anonymous for these surveys so that they can easily express themselves. So is it a thing that you should include their names, or it's better to keep it anonymous?
The last. I would keep it anonymous. You have the most of the questions are on the course and on the trainer or the organization, so that you don't need the name on. Where you need the name on is when you have the free text commentaries. When you don't understand it, you have to ask back. So there would be good to have a name on, so you can, if you do it inside at the end of your courses, but in the training, you can tell them you can lay down your name on the survey if you want to. You don't have to. And I think people who want to get recognized, put their name on, but normally I would leave it anonymous.
Mr. Okai, you had another comment.
Yes, so immediately I'm thinking of what kind of tools we can use for this survey so we can get immediate analytics. So I'm thinking of Google Forms or MS Forms, because then you can immediately have a summary of who said what and what they're saying. Are there other tools like that you think would be more effective, so that at the end of the survey we can get a quick result? Because a paper-based one, you have to go through every paper, see what everyone says, and do your own summary and analytics. But if it's online based, you just put a link, say, okay, click here to get to your evaluation form or survey. So as they fill in the survey, immediately you see the results, and it doesn't matter how many they are. So are there tools you can suggest like that we can use that is readily available that can help us, especially with the summary and analytics, so that we can see the quick results and be able to act on it?
Yes, there are. I think I'm not the very competent informer on these tools, because we have some regulations here in Germany to do customer surveys. So we have to, when we ask questions about the trainers, we have to check the questions first with employees, representatives. It's a very legal, very complex thing we have to do. So I can't use the quick tools like MS Forms or something like that with our people, because I'm not allowed to. So, but you can. So, but because this is so, I'm not in the point to tell you these are the good tools to use, because I don't use it. I know MS Forms; it's a very good and quick point, and I know also some Miro boards when you are interacting in blended or e-learning classes. But that's it.
Maybe I can add some information to this point. We have some seminars, international seminars that we are realizing. They are online, where we have a lot of participants. Sometimes there are up to 100, 200 participants at these online seminars. And of course, as they are international and they are also integrating people in foreign countries, we cannot send the documents by paper and then recollect it. So in this case, we are working with MS Forms, and maybe we can ask the colleagues which are working for our international area and department how they do it, and then give you some information about it next time when we come to South Africa, or even in the meanwhile, if this would be interesting for you, just to figure out how they do it. And we have these MS Forms, we have linked it even to the homepage of us, where people register for these online seminars. So while they are registering or registrating themselves, they already have the link to these questionnaires at the end. It's all linked together. And by this, we have a complete overview how many participants are participating. They receive the certificate afterwards also by this link. It's some kind of, let's say, management system, not only for making the survey and evaluating the seminar, but also collect the number of participants and managing the system of certification. It's not some kind of certificate they receive, but some kind of, let's say, participation document. And of course, therefore, we need a pretty detailed and correct participant management system. We will ask this. Marlene, you can remember me. We will ask this to colleagues, and then we can give you some more information about it. Maybe it's adaptable for your system, your courses. You're welcome.
Okay, so I'm done. I've used up nearly all the time. I'm sorry about, but I think we have just 13 minutes left or something like that. So, Doreen, it's up to you now.
Yes, okay, perfect. Yeah, when you finished your presentation, actually, you already stopped the screen sharing. Then, of course, we can come to the last part. I think it's not a problem that we just have 13 minutes left, because actually, I have the impression it was very interesting for the colleagues attending this meeting. And there were a lot of questions getting more to the detail, because, of course, it's necessary to understand the tools and the process in order to be able to adopt it to the own system, and to figure out what is suitable and what not. So everything is fine. Thank you very much. I think it was very interesting. Are there any more questions? Should we use this time right now, or do you want to reflect a little bit together what could be adoptable also for the TUT and for the evaluation of your short course?
I think we can continue with what you need to present. So far, we have enough tools for quality management based on the presentations we have. And we've already recognized some of the tools that we can immediately begin to adopt and to use, which is quite good. So yeah, I think we can continue.
If I could just quickly come in there, I want to agree with what Timothy said quite a while ago, in that the Ishikawa, the fishbone, seemed to work quite well for what our requirements. Yep.
Yes. Thorsten, you want to say something?
Yes, I got a question, because of course we are very curious when the first batch is gonna start. So when actually, if there's already a date when the first course will start. So that's of course a question I think all of us are curious.
Yes. I am also mindful of the fact that at least we need to have the first batch done and dusted before the end of April. So even though everything is not ready, but I'm mindful of that. And I'm also mindful of the fact that we need a bit of time for marketing and publicity
Mhm.
before the course starts. Now, having said that, I have discussed with Label while she's still going through her processes. I don't want to wait for those processes to finish before we start and before we start marketing. So what I have done is I have prepared a document. I think with a kind of program for the course, and I've already started sending that out. And based on that document, I looked at two options that can help us at least to have a first batch before that will finish before the end of April. So the first one is supposed to start. Let me see if I can. Okay, I will share it now. Just give me a moment so that you can see what we have. I like to think ahead and do these things ahead so that we don't waste too much time, because I'm mindful of the fact that we're racing against time. Not August, April. Yeah, we need to have the first batch wrapped up by end of April. So let me quickly open this document and I'll show you what I have. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me try to share my screen. Okay, let me try to increase this a little bit. So this is what I've done. I know that beginning 1st of April is going to be very tight, but that would be like the pre-training, right? And you will see the detail just now. So there's the first option and there's a second option of dates. We have some public holidays in between. So I have that first option from 1st to 22nd of April, second option from 8th to 25th of April. So organized by this, the purpose, a few of the objectives, then the scope of the training with all the topics which most participants will be interested in. They want to see what are the topics we are covering. So I have it listed there. The target participants, And then the faculty, who are the people giving the training, what are their qualifications? Because people want to know who are the people training us. So with their qualifications listed there. Then a training cost based on what TUT has suggested, going through label and the analysis. The dates again, so 14 days for each option. The training venue, online on MS Teams, and Brightspace, which is our learning management system in TUT. So we would want to put as much of the material, even the practicals, as possible online, because there'll be video recordings and so on, of course, with the simulations and other video materials we have. So that if there are people outside of South Africa who want to attend, there will not be a barrier of face-to-face traveling, accommodation, and all of that. So the contact information for general inquiry and for registration and quotations. Then details of the program, day 1 to day 14. So the first day will be pre-training. I have not put the dates because we have different date options, but I just put day 1, day 2, up to day 14, what will be done for the pre-training and everything that needs to be done. Okay. And then day 2, ethics. Day 3, safety and hazard management. Day 3, day 4. So I have all the topics and the contents for each of the days and possible time as well. Although in future we're going to make it more flexible so that learners can do all this at their own pace, because everything is going to be online. Then for the practical training, so for each day, there are certain components that we have included that will be dealt with when it comes to practicals. Then let's see what else, evaluation, assessments, and of course we have to put the feedback somewhere here at the end as well. So that's what I have, and I'm going to send this to you so that at least you have a record of this as well. Okay. But those are the dates that I'm suggesting. So we want to work on that. And I've started sending out information. I think yesterday, one person already registered, even though we are not ready yet. Yeah, so, but others have said to me, it's a bit too soon because they need enough time to communicate with their management and get all the payment arrangement ready and leave from work to do it. So possibly they will join the next batch. But we are going on all the same. At this first stage, we're not looking for many participants. We just need a few to test run so we can evaluate at the end. And so you can also be able to give your report to BB on the BBW side. So that's the goal. The goal here is not perfection, but to see how the process will run so that we can improve at the end. And then at the end of the project, when it ends in April, we can now take time, improve, and do things properly, have enough time, get enough participants to run the next batch. Comments?
That sounds very, very good, like a very good plan. I think you are right now in the phase of doing, because it was planned before you developed the curriculum. We have seen it in the design thinking process of Thorsten yesterday. So right now you're, as you said, in the phase to test, really to try to give it a try, even if it's not perfect and even if you don't have a very high number of participants. But you, of course, you need some phase of testing in order to also have material to evaluate and to improve afterwards, and then to give it or to standardize it and to implement it as a regular offer at the TUT. So I think this is a very good planning. Do you have a minimum number of participants you want to participate?
Let's say minimum 5, maximum 20.
Okay.
Yeah, although because of the fact that time is short, I don't know how many we're going to get for this first batch, but I know subsequent batches we will get participants. They're already there. Just that for this first batch, there's not enough time for them to prepare. That's why, again, I'm not waiting for everything to be ready, because if we wait, we may not have enough days to advertise and publicize and get participants ready to attend. So we're going ahead anyway. Even if we get 3, let's test it at least and see how it goes, what we can improve, and then we get a feedback. Then at the end of it, then we can now take time to implement some of those suggestions and changes and improve it for the next batch, where we hope that things will run much, much better.
Okay. Yeah, I think time is always a challenge inside the projects. So this is, well, let's say a little bit difficult as it ends at the end of April. But nevertheless, I think it's a good planning. Torsten, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I also have a question once again. So do you need participants who are actually paying for the course, or could we also maybe include the service technicians to remember that we had in one of our workshops to test? So that could be also an opportunity. So do you need these participants, they need to pay?
Or also in the testing phase?
Yeah, in the testing phase,
Yes, for the
especially.
testing phase, I think that's a good solution, which I will also discuss with Label, so they keep that in mind as well. So we could use some of those participants for the workshop for this testing phase. So we can say, okay, maybe this first phase will be the testing phase. If we have paying participants, fine. If not, then we just use it as a testing phase. Then for the second batch, we can now implement whatever suggestions, corrections, improvements, and then have it properly done for the next phase. So yes. And I also want to, because I don't have all the records of the names of those workshop participants that came to TUT. Yes. So if you can send that to me as well,
definitely.
so that I can have,
Mr. Okay, we saved the date next Tuesday morning, because we are like every day out of office right now, to send all the materials through, to also send you the list with the people we will invite for the 21st and 22nd of April. And also we will send save the dates to the participants, because what we thought is to invite everyone who already took place or took part in the project until now. And we will all invite again to Pretoria. But the question is, when I saw your schedule, do you think you will be available on 21st and 22nd of April? Because it's also part of the training. So
I can always delegate, because most of this is going to be online. And I'm not the only one involved. There are other facilitators. I can always delegate to make time for this one. Yes.
Because we also thought about inviting people from the German embassy, so that they see. And we thought to invite the service technicians who took place in the workshop, and all of the trainers and the people who were engaged in the project, so that we can have a nice closing event, reflect on what we did, and to see if there's possibility to widen
So yes, and as you see, even in the dates, there are some gaps which are public holidays. Yes. So if there's need for us to create a gap for those 2 days as well, to allow all the facilitators to be present, it's something we can always adjust. So it's not cast in stone. We can always make that adjustment. Yes.
Perfect.
So on Tuesday, you will get all information.
Yes,
on Tuesday, that's the day.
Because unfortunately, now everything comes together. We have the guest, 9 people from South Africa, and they will go back on Saturday, but on Sunday, another 11 will come. So
great. Wonderful.
Yeah, the time is the challenge always, not only in the projects. Okay, but it sounds like a good planning. We're at the end of the time, but there's one question I would not reflect or not discuss right now, but maybe give it to you as an idea. Maybe you can take the fishbone, as you said before, it could be a good method for you. Maybe you can take the fishbone with your team and explain it once more, and then use it as a basic for developing some kind of evaluation sheet. Because I think the most important thing that we have to evaluate the quality of the course, and also, let's say, the suitable for your participants for the future, for the next batch, because then, of course, you want to sell it. So it has to fit the demand of your customers. Maybe you can use this fishbone method or this, let's say, diagram in order to establish the questionnaire and come to all the points that are mentioned in the fishbone, as for example, material, that you gather information or some kind of reply about the material, the method, the training method. This was something mentioned also by Ingo. We are also reflecting on the training method. Is it practical? Can people use it in their daily work? Can they, is it suitable for them? Is it helpful? All these questions, you can put them in this diagram, and then you have some kind of overview to really analyze and evaluate the quality of this first course. I think it's the best, let's say, best period or best time to do it right now, as it is some kind of testing course. So you can test both the quality management tools and systems, but also the results of the course, and then maybe afterwards you can integrate it into some kind of standardized process. This is something I would like to give to you as a result maybe of these 2 days discussion we had and this input you get from Ingo. I think it's a useful and suitable tool for you. You also mentioned it. I think you have a lot of information, but beside this, of course, we will transfer to you all the other documents. We can also translate for you our questionnaire. As we said before, the questionnaire you have seen, we can translate it in English. And as I mentioned, we can contact the colleague which is working with MS Teams. And maybe if you need some further information about this, there would be the possibility via Marlene to get some kind of linkage and to give you more information about this, that you can use some kind of data collection system from the beginning of the QM system or testing, evaluation of this testing phase.
Yes, I think it would be helpful to have a translation of that document in English so that we can go through and see what we can extract and use as part of the process. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for that.
Okay, perfect. So Marlene, Thorsten, you have a lot of homework. I'm delegating homework. I've been delegating homework yesterday to Ingo and today to Thorsten and Marlene. You should reflect about asking me as a moderator next time, but okay.
But please, I think it will also be important for me to get those contact details as soon as possible. And the team that came to Charlotte Makeke Hospital, and I don't have any contacts with, I don't have their contacts, and some of the ones that came to TUT, I have some, I don't have some, but I will see what I have, so that if they can be the first batch, then we don't have to wait for external people. Then at least we can have, even if it's 5, 10, we can go ahead and then we have enough for evaluation at the end of the course.
So Ingo, you will send me the German document so that I will be forwarding it to be translated, right? So that's the homework. So you also get homework, which
it's just done. It's in your inbox.
Oh, perfect. So okay, I need to excuse. I will do my homework next week, and we will also send through like the contacts of all the. Charlotte, which was it? Was it the one in
Joburg?
Yeah. In Joburg, where we had a demonstration of the
demonstration. Yes,
with Stefan Rensburg, right?
Yes.
Stefan Rensburg and Robin with the trainer.
Okay, so we will send you through all the contact details of the of the technicians next week, and
Great.
And the material, which is already in English, we will also send through next week.
Yes. And I just want to check with you as well, in terms of the testing equipment, ProSim 8s, and the patient monitors, what's the situation?
The patient monitor should have arrived, actually.
Okay, I'll check with TUT because we've been working from home. I haven't been there yet. So I will phone the office to find out if anything has arrived. Yeah, then I will let you know.
And the Fluke thing, like the Fluke testing equipment for the patient monitor.
Yeah.
And they told us that they had some shipping problems, but it had been paid, like I think 2 days ago.
Okay.
And it's on its way to TUT. But the patient monitor had been paid already, like maybe 1 month ago. So I thought it would be already delivered. That's what I heard. But of course, we have to check because it shouldn't get lost.
Yeah, usually they try to contact us before delivery, but no one has
I will ask
contacted
them
me
to.
as yet. Yeah. Mm.
Okay, perfect. So you will exchange this information, stay in contact.
Yes.
We will forward you all the documents needed. Are there any other questions? Any other comments, remarks? Some more homework to delegate for someone? No, obviously not. Okay, then I think we can finish for today. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you for all the questions, the remarks. Thank you, Ingo, for your presentation and this very helpful and fruitful details about the fishbone, the turtle, and the other tools that could be helpful in order to evaluate this course. I think it's a good planning. Everybody has his tasks to do, and I'm very optimistic that the first batch will start in the beginning of April, and then that we will have some first results at the end of April when it comes to the closing of the project, and then afterwards you can continue with these, as we said, these results for the further implementation of second, third, fourth, and much more short courses with this content. So thank you once more. It was a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to see you all at the end of April. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
you.
Have a
Bye-bye.
nice day. Have a nice
Thank
weekend.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.